Welcome to GameDevToolbox, brought to you by GameIntrospection.com, a series dedicated to analyzing the player's experience and the ways games can ruin or enhance it. This episode we're looking into the Dissociative camera, focusing on Electric Superjoy. Electric Superjoy, for the uninitiated, is a neon minimalist platformer with a hardcore ethereal soundtrack. The soundtrack is extremely catchy and heart-pounding and all the eargasm goodness and must download for the moment you start up the screen. But anyways, the dissociative camera. The dissociative camera is when the expected camera movement and the real camera movement are grossly mismatched, causing what you're focused on to be dragged in a direction that you weren't expecting to go. This clip from Electric Superjoy Groove City only has me moving from one part of the stage to the next, and a cameraman with very bad judgment on who the main focus of the stage is, while trying to set up shot for the next area. Okay, you don't get to hold that camera anymore. Thank God the majority of the game isn't like this, with a more predictable camera taking cues from the character's movement on screen. This passing of the camera around the stage is only used to transition between the areas of the level. But when the cameraman does decide to move so dramatically and we weren't expecting it, our visual cues become completely garbled. We have visual changes that we weren't expecting and at a higher rate than we anticipated, causing direct motion sickness. Hey, you with the camera, shut that off. Damn asshole trying to get us sick. This happens in any game and makes it why first-person games are so hard to watch people play. The jerky camera movement, the constant shifting of focus because the player wants to look around the room for collectibles, even the perspective of the camera turning makes it hard to focus when you aren't the one in control because you don't really know when and where the camera will move to next. Third-person games are a bit easier on the senses because you have more static visual cues on the screen to focus on rather than focusing on completely changing scenery. But when everything on the screen is moving, like in Electric Superjoy Groove City's transitions, then you have nothing to focus on, causing the motion sickness to set in. The dissociative camera was an interesting experiment for Groove City because it helped bring more consistency to the level design than its predecessor. In Electric Superjoy, you had levels with distinct beginnings and ends, with transitions being deliberate, forcing a sense of change in between levels, either because of the change in color, music, or layout. In Groove City, the dissociative camera was meant to hide the transition between levels. Instead of having 5 separate levels with same color, you have one large level broken up into 5 parts, and the shifting camera signified the change in parts within the level. This left a consistency in both the color palette, the level assets, and the music in keeping the sets of levels grouped together, and it was an interesting way of accomplishing this. But that cameraman still needs to be fired. Thanks for watching, like, comment, and subscribe, or whatever else you need to do to spread the knowledge. And check out GameIntrospection.com, or follow me on Twitter @GameIntrospection for more of my ramblings on game stuff.